We will start by showing you 3 positions of the pelvis. First, here we are in neutral, and now we're going to show you an anterior pelvic tilt. In an anterior pelvic tilt, you stick the derriere back and you kind of lose the core a bit. Now he's going to come back to neutral, and we'll show you the opposite extreme, which is the posterior pelvic tilt, where you kind of crush your glutes and tilt your pelvis backwards, like so. So now we're going to talk about strategies to find a neutral pelvis in this position, in standing. So you're going to start by finding your 2 extremes. So we're going to go into an anterior pelvic tilt, and then he's going to go all the way back into his posterior pelvic tilt. And now he's going to just start oscillating between the 2. First he'll go to the extremes, and then he'll go a little less to the extreme, and to the back, and even less, and he's going to just make his movement smaller and smaller and smaller until he finds the midpoint between both extremes. Now we're going to find a neutral pelvis when you're lying down on your back. So we're going to use the same method. So you're going to think about tucking your pelvis under as much as possible. This is the posterior pelvic tilt. Now note your back goes flat against the ground. Often we're taught about maintaining this position in some of our cross-training techniques, but this is not a neutral spine or neutral pelvis. Now the other position you want to find is the anterior pelvic tilt. So remember, this is the one where you're bringing your derriere back and letting your abs go to the front. And notice that you have quite a big space underneath your back, between your back and the floor. So now you're going to use the same strategy. You're going to rock to your extremes. First your posterior pelvic tilt, and then your anterior pelvic tilt. And then you're slowly going to make those extremes smaller and smaller and smaller until you find a spot that's right in between both extremes, which is your neutral pelvis. Now in this position, you should feel the front of your hips relaxed. So you can go ahead and touch the front of your hips and feel how your muscles are a little bit squishy. And then also I want you to note that for some people, you're going to have space between your low back and the floor, and that's absolutely okay. And if you're doing exercises from a neutral pelvis on your back, you will be sure to maintain the small space between your back and the floor throughout the duration of the exercise.